Today in the crypto space, we see Bitcoin still hovering around that $29,000 level and Ethereum $1,900. It is the rest of the crypto space, the altcoins, pretty much going sideways, waiting for Bitcoin and Ethereum to make some decisions. Are we coming down, continuing to the downside, or are we going to get a nice relief bounce to the upside where we can look for profit-taking opportunities? In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin that has retraced to some good levels of support, and that project is called TENET. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go bearish or bullish, up or down, all we want to do is stay one step ahead of that market so that we can capitalize on any of that volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects that you want me to cover here on the channel, let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on those socials. The links are in the description. And of course, I got that Discord group that is pumping really good. Lots of good members in there trading and offering a lot of good fundamentals, good trade setups, and all that good stuff. Go check it out, guys. And let's get right into it. Bitcoin going sideways. It got a little bit of a dip, and now we're getting a bit of relief. And, you know, we're still within that sideways type of idea here. Bitcoin not really showing any clear direction for big picture moves, small term, short term. Of course, we got some volatility, maybe on the 1 hour, maybe on the 4 hour. But overall, guys, right now, Bitcoin is not giving me a real indication that the market is looking like it wants to get, you know, any type of volatility very soon. So, you know what? We're going to be very careful here. Of course, we're going to be waiting for some good indications that the market is looking for more movement. But right now, there's nothing happening. We see a lot of these altcoins dipping down to lower levels. Solana and many more. So let's take a look. We got XRP, you know, grinding to the downside. We have BNB still looking a bit strong though, but nonetheless, you know, taking it easy. I still feel like when you see projects do very well, it's time to consider taking profits and protecting yourself, especially if you are in a trade. If you're a holder or an investor, guys, right now it's great. You see a lot of good price action with BNB, but you have other projects coming down. So the majority of the market, in my opinion, right now is either within range, where, you know, it's not really doing anything, or coming down to those lower levels. Look at Cardano in the range. Dogecoin making lower lows and lower highs, slightly lower low. I still feel very bearish with this setup right here that's happening here with Doge. I think a lot of people expected Doge to come out hot with X, you know, the rebranding of Twitter, but nothing really happened about that. But eventually I think it will. So hang tight there, guys. When we do get into those red scenarios, maybe accumulating a bit of Doge might be good, good idea. But nonetheless, right now you can see like even Polkadot going sideways, Polygon, you know, maybe reaching those lower levels. This could be another lower high. If it's a lower high, lower lows, you know, the trend is your friend, and maybe this is the scenario. We have Shiba Inu consolidating here, creating a very clean invalidation point on ice line, where if we do break below these triple bottom scenario here, guys, it looks like we could cascade to those lower levels and be able to, you know, maybe buy dips at lower levels. But if we do use this as support, we could get a nice bounce to the upside, where, you know, continuation up. I think it's very fair to say that we're going to have to get into some sort of detail here on Shiba Inu, whether it's the momentum is showing us strength to the upside, or if you know, if we, you know, basically I'm pretty sure that we have a volume gap right underneath that can show a bit of weakness. So again a little bit more detail in the charts would be very useful. Guys, I'm going to put Shiba Inu on the list, and for tonight's live stream, you know, I cover all kinds of altcoins live at 7:30 Eastern. If you have any projects that you want me to cover, the best place and time is 7:30 Eastern, where you can, you know, request them live and we can take a look at them as a community. All right, guys, let's continue. What else do we have? Uniswap finally showing a bit of weakness. Okay, here, guys, I still feel like it's very due to see Uniswap get a bit of a bounce, a lower high. That's what we're looking for, because already we're creating somewhat of a lower low, breaking a bit of a trend here. So a lower high upon a nice bounce to the upside, a little bit of relief, and that might be your last opportunity to take profits off of Uniswap. It might be a double top, it might be even a lower high, it might even be a higher high. It could be very possible to get another drive to the upside with regards to price action, but let's take care of that momentum, because if the momentum is overbought with bearish divergence over time, what we should do is start thinking about taking profits bit by bit, because the weakness is definitely kind of unfolding here. Uniswap is another one that I wouldn't mind taking a look at in tonight's live stream. Let's do that. Let's put it on the list. Uniswap, I got SHIB, I got Uniswap. Let's continue. What else? Few grinds to the downside. AVAX looking a bit bearish here, coming down. True USD, okay, fine. A bit of a dip here on ETH Classic. ICP going sideways after a nice little rally, a little bit of a pullback going sideways. HBAR, Hedera hash graph coming down. Yes, it's up 2.1%, but what's important to understand that we're still at the bottom of the range right here. Pretty much created a lower low, which I don't really like. It could be considered a double bottom, but it is slightly lower, and after this type of price action, if there's bearish divergence here at critical levels of resistance, it could be that this is looking for that follow through, another lower high. A lower high at this point would just basically confirm a potential head and shoulders formation here for HBAR. We're getting a few little setups here that we need to take a look at, and I'm going to put HBAR on the list as well. HBAR, I'm filling up our list right here nice and early. And of course, any projects that you guys request, I'm going to put them in priority, and I'm going to focus on those. But right now, we got to look at this market. Market might be giving us opportunities here. Optimism looking strong. Again, maybe looking for a lower high. We got to pay attention here, because I'm not really confident when I see this type of grinding price action here. It looks like relief for this dip, and then a continuation for another dip. So be careful. Head and shoulders along the way, maybe as well for OP. XDC still rallying up 21%. Guys, doing very well here. Of course, XDC has been doing good, and on the channel, we've been talking about taking profits at certain levels. Yesterday, we covered it live, and at this point, I'm very compelled to say, be careful with leaving too much skin in the game with regards to XDC, because it did very well. It's up 24% in the last while. So what I'm going to do is also put XDC on the list, because it looks really good, and I'm assuming that the market right now might be getting a bit of FOMO. Those type of, emotions are the ones that really get you wrecked, because you're going to end up becoming exit liquidity if this thing rallies up too hard. Now, long term, of course, XDC could do very well, but in the short term, a healthy pullback is absolutely normal. So let's wait for that, and then we can scale in with a bit of confidence. Stacks going sideways, nothing interesting there. Kaspa, again, another one, 7.3% to the upside, looking really strong. Another one where I'm going to be very adamant about saying, you know what, let's protect ourselves. Take profit. No fresh longs right now. It's too late to get into fresh longs, in my opinion. You're looking for a long position, you got to wait for a pullback, guys. At least a short-term 4-hour pullback where you can buy the dip with a bit of confidence. Right now is not the time. My opinion, of course, not financial advice, but I will be putting my money where my mouth is. When this dips, I will be scaling in. I already scaled in nice and early. Of course, I'm coming from that context or from that mindset. I know those of you that are sitting on sidelines waiting to buy the dip on Kaspa, you're really thinking about getting in right now. Guys, it's a bit scary. It is a bit scary right now to get in. You might become exit liquidity as Kaspa, reaches that double top scenario from previous highs. So be careful. Price discovery could be along the way, but in price discovery, you have no price action to basically make any real decisions. All you're using is potentially Fibonacci extension levels. Okay, so pay attention to that. We'll get into more detail tonight if that's what you guys request. Okay, let's continue. A little bit of sideways here, a little bit of sideways throughout all these. Render going sideways, nothing interesting there. Injective, again, top of the range going sideways, nothing really interesting. We have Flex, still testing the previous high. Okay, not bad. Nice little rally up. Sui taking a dip after very range-bound price action, and Trust Wallet taking a bit of a dip after a nice strong, rally up in the last little while. Looking pretty good for Trust Wallet. Bit of a pullback, and maybe continuation to the upside is very due. CFX as well, looking pretty good, double top type of thing, up 3.5%. But generally speaking, guys, you got to admit this market right now is either sideways, extremely sideways, or we are getting some good gainers, a few good gainers here and there. Okay, so again, the overall market, if you're looking at 5 good gainers within the top 100 where the rest of them are pretty much sideways, guys, it's showing us that there's a bit of strength here and there are a few opportunities that you can capitalize on. But generally speaking, this is not an altcoin season just yet. We're waiting for the magic to happen where we see altcoins fly. All right, guys, that's my take on the general market. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. Let's begin our analysis talking about Bitcoin, because I know you're here to talk about charts. Bitcoin as a leading indicator is an interesting one. This is Tenet. This is the project for today. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin first, because I believe that it is an important thing to actually focus on Bitcoin as a leading indicator. So let's jump right into that chart. And Bitcoin going sideways for me is not the time to get into Bitcoin. I feel like right now going sideways within this sideways channel, getting a bit of a bounce here, a little bit of relief. Yesterday we talked about the potential to get to about 30,000. That played out absolutely perfectly. I anticipated that. Why? Because a backtest, relief. That's all it is, relief. We have a bit of a volume gap that we can fly above, and I usually don't really fill in volume gaps on the shorter term time frames. But you can see here on the 4 hour, we got a bit of volume gaps that we basically tested the top of, and we got to this level, getting a bit of rejection as we speak. Big picture, guys, again, big picture, we're gonna have to zoom out here on Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's volatility on the short term is there, but big long term, guys, this thing is still within a range, very, very tight range, not really doing much, basically consolidating and within this level, and then breaking down for a retracement. Now, how low could we go, guys? I don't know, but I feel like the momentum on the RSI currently showing me that we didn't get into oversold conditions, and that's what I'm looking for to get a bit of confidence in this market. All right, guys, let's continue here with a bit more detail. We'll get into Tenet. We'll come up with a plan with regards to Tenet, and of course, guys, just a reminder, if you have any projects that you want me to cover in future videos, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on those socials. Join the Discord. The Discord is a great place to join the community, get a lot of alpha throughout the day, trade setups and so on. And there's a channel there where you can request deep dives and all that good stuff. Deep dive is on Sunday. I release deep dives every Sunday where we talk about a project in a bit more detail, so we can take a look at whether the project is worth our time or not. So feel free to chime in on the Discord. Okay, so right now here on Bitcoin, I'm not really getting that edge. We didn't fully reset momentum. In fact, we're consolidating this momentum, and it's getting tighter and tighter on the daily, where we're right now on the 50 zone. The 50 zone on the RSI is where you see a lot of choppy price action. Okay, so for me, no trade zone for me. I think that we could get a bit of relief to the upside still, based on the daily time frame. Maybe touch the top of the trend line on this momentum on the RSI, get to about 62%, 65%, something like that, and then finally, maybe make some decisions. Are we coming down and going to higher levels? But right now, I think that Bitcoin is kind of showing us a distribution, to be honest. I feel like we can hesitate here for the next little while, and as Bitcoin goes sideways and distributes tokens, again, sell off, we might see a lot of those profits, a lot of that capital flow into altcoins. Okay, so that's my take. That's what I think in the immediate short term. Being careful here on Bitcoin. I'm not getting into any fresh longs just yet on Bitcoin, but on altcoins, on the other hand, I'm looking for opportunities. Let's talk about Tenet. Tenet, obviously, in the last little while has been a hot topic. It kind of, fizzled down just a little bit, which tells me that the market right now has, pretty much let the price come down to a very, very healthy, let's say, equilibrium type of thing. When you hear a lot of FOMO in a project, a lot of the times the price gets overbought, overvalued in the short term, and then you need the price to kind of hit reality. Let's get to reality here, and I think right now Tenet is at that level where we can have a bit of confidence, where it's kind of holding steady. Now, what I want to bring to your attention is a couple of things here on the daily. We see that we are still in the chop zone. Okay, the RSI is on the 50, so I am a little bit, skeptical here whether we should start getting in for a long-term trade. Now, 50% is not bad in this case, because at the end of the day, if you look at the price action that we have already, we're pretty much in the mid zone. Yeah, we could come down a little bit more. Yes, we could continue to the upside, but what I do like is right now we're battling to keep a higher low, which is good. At least we're trying to keep a higher low. As long as we stay above the 13 cent mark and right below these previous lows, At the end of the day, we're not coming down to test lower, right? That's very important. Now, we could still break down and come down to those lower levels. Guys, just want to be very clear that here at about 10 cents, we do begin the area of volume gap, which means that there's not much supply and demand here. And this is the zone where if we break below 10 cents, guys, we have nothing below to hold as support, which becomes a very, very dangerous spot. But where we are right now, you can see that I do have those green arrows, is not a bad time. Okay, let me kind of reshift this over here so we can pay attention to the price action. This is not a bad time, given the fact that, we do have a bit of supply and demand here to act as support. And now over time, we've built a bit of a weak spot above, which means that we can still pop right up to about 16 cents for a quick trade to the upside, given that we do have some tops and we are at, at the bottom of the range right now. You can see tops, bottoms, tops, bottoms. There's a bit of a range happening here. So this is a good one. This is not bad of a scenario. I am compelled to start like maybe doing one of these, okay, just to kind of outline the main structure here. Let's exclude this for now. But if you include that and you consider it, you can see that we, did a bit of a wave structure, 3-wave structure to the upside. And then we broke a bit of trend after touching it 1, 2, 3 times, which is great. We broke down. We didn't break structure really because this is the low that you want to break below. But we did break below a local low, which is this low right here. Okay, so that's good. And then we came up and back tested and we create a slightly lower low, a lower high. So for me, this is a confirmation high that we could be potentially in a break of trend, break of structure. Now we did come back down and are slightly lower than these previous lows. Now we do have some wicks. You can exclude wicks or not, whatever the case may be. We are currently testing this previous low. This low right here, right now, is in the works of being broken, right? So if that's the case, we break there, we're coming down to about this zone, which is 10 cents to break this previous low. And this is a very scary one. This is an extremely scary one because if we break below that one, we potentially could come down and make a bigger picture lower low and break below, about 8 cents, give or take. That is the scary low. Now, on the daily, we have the momentum to actually achieve that. We're in the mid zone. We can get fully reset to oversold conditions and definitely drop to this area, or we can go overbought and get to, higher levels, maybe bounce to the top of the range once again after coming down to the bottom of the range, which we are currently testing at this level. So this is something to consider. Usually I use the wicks in my trend lines, but you can see right now, whether you use the wicks or not, the wicks actually right now make this look more like a symmetrical triangle type of consolidation. You exclude the wicks, it looks like a descending triangle where you have a clear bottom, a little bit more of a clear bottom if you exclude the wicks, and you can see that the ice line becomes a little bit more, how can I say, pronounced, and it's a lot clearer. You can see right below the 12-cent zone, 13-cent zone, we start to, basically decline in the amount of support that we have here based on the price action. Okay, so these are all things to consider, because if we do break below 13 cents, Tenet is very likely, with some volume, conviction is very likely to come down to about 10 cents and see the momentum oscillator fully reset to oversold conditions. I like to see that happen, but the daily's not giving us that just yet. And we do have some good range action to do to get involved in. And what does that mean? That means you have an option to take advantage of this potential 20% range and 20% dip, more or less. You're going to have to get into lower time frames. Okay, so let's get into the 4-hour and see what's happening here. This is where we get the volatility. You can see that the momentum is showing us, overbought, oversold, overbought, oversold. That's what you kind of want to see here. We went from overbought, we got to extreme oversold here, while the price action is coming down at levels of support, at previous lows, at the top of this potential volume gap, because I want to show you that if I include this price action, the volume gap is not that pronounced. But as soon as I exclude this price action out of the picture and just focus on this rally up, okay, as best as I can, you can see that the VPVR starts to show us and confirm to us that this is a weak zone in the immediate short term, where if we break below, again, this clear invalidation at about 12 cents, 13 cents, we could come down to this green arrow really quickly without much volume to hold up the price. Okay, so that's something that I would really want to keep our attention on. Now, here on the 4-hour, we're oversold. We can see that we went oversold, and we're currently in the chop zone even on the 4-hour, while the price action is creating a slightly lower low, very slight, or even double bottom. That's totally fine, because either way, this is class A bullish divergence. Okay, we have higher highs on the RSI, double bottom or lower lows on the RSI on the price action. Either way, this is class A or class B. Class A being stronger, class B not being as strong. Just keep in mind, it's very possible that we still take another dip down, create a lower low, while the bullish divergence right here, this RSI is upward sloping. It remains upward sloping intact, fully intact, even if the RSI comes down for a little bit of a dip to lower levels and hits this trend line more or less, or it takes a bit of a dip. We don't know where it's going to come down, but if it does come down, expect the price action to make a lower low while the bullish divergence remains intact. That is the ideal time to start looking for entries. Right now is not bad because you do have that invalidation very clear. We have a volume gap below, and I feel that the market right now is trying to backtest this area. So what I would be doing personally is considering this a great risk to reward ratio opportunity. Let me show you what I mean. Price action wise, we're right now in this zone for entry. Take basically stop loss. We can do an extension level to see where could we actually get to. For now, let's leave it very loosely right here, okay? And then we'll kind of tighten it up with that. For now, I would say look, top of the volume gap, point of control right here within this range. You can see all these highs here, slightly lower high. Let's respect the fact that it's been making lower highs for the last little while and be modest here and look at maybe a 20 to 23% rally up, guys. Obviously, front run it, make it a little bit. We can respect this volume right here as well and make it at about 22% profit taking. Right now, our risk to reward ratio is very, very good. It's not bad. You're looking at about a 2 to 1, 2.5 to 1, but we can improve this, right? We can improve it because if we do make that lower low, we can scale in a little bit lower, right? In DCA. And obviously, if that happens, we're going to be trailing down our average position, our average price, improving it drastically if we do get a better entry. Now, what about if we don't get a better entry and we get a bounce here? No problem. What you're going to do is you're going to trail up the stop loss, make it really tight right below invalidation, which is right below these lows. A bunch of support here, and get that bounce to the upside. Right now, you're looking at a decent risk to reward ratio, 6 to 1, 7 to 1. You get my point, right? So you have a couple of choices. DCA as it comes down, so you bring your average cost down, or trail up that stop loss and use this previous price action as invalidation. Right now is the time to get in very loosely. A lot of the times a good option is go in slowly, okay? And then as you get those confirmations, you buy in a little bit more, you go long a little bit stronger, and you trail up the stop loss. Okay, you buy a little bit more, you bring your average cost down, and you trail up the stop loss bit by bit. Because as we do come down, I don't think the RSI is going to get to those lower levels and much lower. I think this was the low on the momentum, and all we're really doing is trying to create that pivot point and that maybe bear flag or bull flag right here. Look and see right here. A descending wedge, sorry. We see a descending wedge, and these wedges want to break bullish, and the target of a descending wedge is the base of the wedge, which is right up here. So we could get down to the bottom of here. We could definitely get down to an extension level. Let's see what that looks like. Swing low, okay, which is right about here, to swing high. Let me zoom in a little bit so we can make this a bit more accurate, because when you're using price action that is very tight like this, you can see that the 1.27 is right here and the 1.618 is down here. Okay, so you got to be prepared that it's very possible that we get down to these levels, and this is the zone to accumulate right now and even below, all within the zone. But if your profit-taking scenario, if it does come down, you're going to have to drag down your average cost, and that will improve your risk to reward ratio. Anywhere within here, an average position price would be healthy. And then, of course, waiting for that momentum to get to those higher levels and quickly take profits. Look at this volume gap that we have here, right up to this zone at about 15, 16 cents. I would be taking profits real quick here on a short-term trade to the upside. Here on Tenet, big picture, I think a lot of these altcoins are in a great accumulation phase. This one doesn't have much price action to really go by, but in a short-term trade scenario, guys, this is looking very range bound, and it's very possible here here on the daily that we've hit the bottom of the range for a continuation of some price action in the chop zone at 50% of the RSI. All right, guys, that's all I got for you today in this video. If you appreciated what I've offered you, do the channel a huge favor and slap that like button. It does really help out with that algorithm. And of course, the support is greatly appreciated. If you want to follow me on those socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join that Discord group, guys. Great community, great alpha, great setups throughout the day. Go check it out. Take care, have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.